Hello. Hi guys. It's time for another spread. I thought this would be the perfect one to start my doing a weekly for, as we have a blood moon and an eclipse. Don't be shocked if we have any miniature visitors. I have my big dog and my little girl around here right now. They should be preoccupied, but you never know with them. So I just want to get right into the energy reading. And this is a general reading for anybody who watches this channel or sees this video. I asked for an overall energy, just one card, and the Tower reverse popped out. We have a lot, almost all major arcana cards, okay? I've been using the Rider-Waite deck for a while, and I will say it's definitely not normal for me to get this many major arcanas. We have, out of 6 cards, we have 5 that are major arcanas. And the first one, like I said, Tower reverse, speaks of this energy of kind of what I've been talking about in my last few spreads, which is not wanting to accept these changes that are coming about. Or I think it's one of two things, because I see this with the people around me. I see people going through things that seem horrible and being like, it's kind of that when you're in the moment and you're like, okay, I got this, I can do this energy. It's not that bad, like things look really bad, but it's gonna be okay, it's necessary. Or kind of the opposite, overreacting, freaking out, this is so bad, it can never be better, my life is ruined type of energy. So I think, and I find this whole duality in this spread that's saying that. Because what I got, I have to remember the exact questions I asked, I write them down. I just do like intuition-led spreads. I will do different spreads sometimes just for fun, but when I'm reading for my channel, I like to just do intuition-led spreads. I think that helps me connect better. So I asked what the overall energy was, Tower reversed, and then what the lesson was that we needed to learn from these experiences. And I got the World and the Fool. And so I think that it's kind of those two perspectives of, well, what I originally thought was, you need to realize that you have the world, and the way that you're going to get there, which is exactly repeat card of what I drew last time, is by being the Fool. I drew this on Friday or Saturday, and that was the main focus of the spread, was the Fool. And I see these, I mean, it's cool because it's like one's feminine, one's masculine. They both seem to have the same very free energy to me. But I think that the World is more of a, it's almost to me like a trusting card. Like this girl is gazing up at this guy in the corner. I don't know if you can see it. And there's all these other animals. She is in the middle of this circular wreath, these red ribbons tied on it. I think to me it kind of speaks of trusting and believing in the fates, and it's really beautiful. She has on this purple cloak that she's wrapped in. I think it's this feeling in both of them. I get these very confident feelings. I think that we are being forced to learn self-confidence, and it's either going to be by completely demolishing yourself and the false sense of self-confidence that you have, or rather learning to, you know, pick out what parts of you that you want to take into this new cycle, this new season. What parts of you are genuine that you want to be highlighting and that you really want to show. And if you are in a place where, like, I have this Tower energy and I am being the Fool, like, that's where you want to be. You want to be at that enjoying life phase. Like, I would say, it sounds silly, but with whatever you're going through, you have to be able to, well, kind of like Abraham Hicks power manifestation stuff, you have to be able to reach that next good thought. Okay, me and my partner split up. I feel like crap, you know. What's the best thought I can think of? And sometimes it can be, I mean, it's so hard to reach for that thought. I totally get it. I've been there, you know, many a time. But it can be as simple as like, this Afghan is really comforting. It's focusing your thought on something else and building until you have reached a height. I find when I reach a certain point with that, I stumble, and it's easy for me to fall back into my kind of pity party BS type of stuff. So that's not a good energy to be in, the pity party. That to me speaks of the Tower reverse, kind of like, ooh, poor me, this is happening. I feel kind of weird about giving this example, but we're here. I recently had a new neighbor move in, and I have loved that house that's next door to me for as long as I've lived here, a couple years. And all I've heard from them is basically like bitching. Like, they're just bitching over there. They are complaining. They are, I mean, and maybe it's just the woman. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to delete this video because we'll become friends. She could be going through a hard time. And I totally get that. I know it's stressful. She has kids, whatever, but, you know, and who knows what situation she came from. Maybe this is her tower moment. It seems like she's having a tower moment over there. But if she would just open her eyes, she would realize this is probably one of the coolest neighborhoods ever. They have a beautiful yard. They have all of these fruit trees that are, you know, going into harvest right now. They are. There's apples everywhere. There's blueberries. There are, you know, literally, there's this bounty in her front yard, and she over in the backyard complaining. Like, that is what we do not want. We need to be feeling excited about the little things. Be the fool. Moving on. And the best way to cope with the stress, 8 of Swords. I think that's totally what it's talking about, is like, open your eyes. This card has always made me laugh because I've gotten it so many times. Usually tarot works that way for me. And it's kind of like, open your eyes and see that it's very easy for her to walk away from these swords. She's like so bound up and feeling in this trapped energy because she has, you know, all these sword stuff around her, but really she has a very clear path. You know, no one else is keeping her hostage. She's alone. And I think that speaks also of accountability. I always say, I think that people a lot of times struggle with spirituality and with fighting things like depression, fighting, you know, anxiety, stuff like that. And I'm not saying that that's not valid, because I've had my experience too. But I can say that on the days I do good, and on the days that I feel, you know, that I've reached like a good place in recovering from those things, and I feel capable and whole, is because I took personal accountability, and I drug myself out of bed, and I made myself put makeup on or put my hair back, or, you know, these simple little things, and I built off of them for the rest of the day until finally I'm like, dang, good day. You know, it's about freeing yourself from the things you can. And obviously, you know, much of what we are stressed about is not in our control. It's exactly the same thing as I was talking about on my last video. These seem to run together, about how 90% of your problems are in your head. You know, they're things that you're thinking. It's the self-talk that you're saying to yourself. You're keeping yourself trapped with that. You're being really 8 of Swords girl over here, you know, or guy. Maybe he just has long hair. You're really binding yourself to a bad perspective, like the pain of the Tower is what I think. And how to, oh, I read that, yeah, that was why I pulled 2 cards. So I pulled 2 more cards. And it was how to deal with the Eight of Swords energy of the Tower. Like, if you're thinking about yourself, like if these are thoughts that you're thinking about yourself, I had a couple options. I felt like it was either about self-talk, and it could be a combination also, or people around you. So it could either be your own self-talk of you're not good enough, or, you know, whatever, blah, 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 to be in this relationship, to have this job, or more so, you're not enough to be who you actually want to be. You're not, people will think of you weird, people will, you know, criticize you if you put yourself out there in a specific way that your heart is really calling you to do, to be the fool. You don't want to look like a fool to other people, right? So for that solution, I got the Star, which the Star is about basically the recovery of the Tower, from what I understand and what I've read. So it's about connecting again, I think, with emotion, your emotional side, and I see it as this fresh, it's kind of like faith in yourself, and being true to what you're actually feeling. It is, to me, also speaks about spirit guides. I just get the vibe off that right now from this card. This actually normally isn't a thing for me. But there's this little bird that I've never actually noticed. I don't know if you can even see it. There's this tiny little bird on the tree. And I think when you get kind of far along, which I feel like I am kind of far along into the intuition journey thing, which is basically just, I reached this point a couple of years ago where I decided to start following my intuition. And my life has just like gone kind of crazy and been kind of like rad since then. But things like birds, and if something strikes you as like, interesting, and you had a certain thought and then notice like this weird anomaly in nature that you're kind of, you know, seems to be synchronized, don't discount that. Really view those type of things as like, just go back to what you were thinking before. Oftentimes I'll find my thought is just flowing, and I'm kind of like, you know, going with it, and I'll either see a number sequence, I will see an animal that's significant, or, you know, I will hear somebody in passing in conversation say something, like repetitive words to the thought that was already in my head. Confirmation. It's confirmation. So I take that this is like trust your intuition true, and confirm. Allow it to confirm whatever it is that your soul's telling you. Because what's happening outside is a reflection of what's happening inside. Most of y'all know. And then if it's happening with other people, Hermit reverse, which we got that last time too as a warning. I continually have been getting this as a warning during the last couple months, maybe the last month. And Hermit reverse is self-isolation. I think that this is speaking about not forcing relationships that aren't meant to happen right now, not forcing issues, not forcing communication, not forcing the issue, you know. We're in retrograde too now, and so a lot of times communication is going to be difficult, and I think instead of pushing it and trying to get your point across, or trying to be heard, or, you know, maybe badgering the other person to tell you what's going on, I think that this is saying refocus that energy. Because I think that when you are doing that and you are pushing and you get into a space with someone where it feels bad, and every time you're trying to communicate with them, it's feeling like yucky and you're not getting a resolve. We're not going to be getting a lot of resolves right now. That's what I've been getting. It's kind of this situation where, like, you know, everything got tossed up in the air and we're just waiting to see where it falls. It really is. And so have you ever heard, if you ride horses, you might have heard, if you get thrown from a horse, you don't want to tense up. I'm the queen of this. I have very fast reaction time. So it's a really conscious thing for me when I'm like in a car accident, which I have been not too long ago, or, you know, as a kid, like getting thrown off a horse, I was always like, okay, relax, as I'm flying through the air. And that's kind of the energy I'm telling you guys. Like, you may be flying, you are going through the air, you are like, you know, probably going to hit pretty hard. So relax. It will do less damage to your body. You will have probably less of a concussion. You'll be fine. So that's what I was getting for that. And in review, let me just review it then. So we're going through tower energy, tower reversed energy, meaning the things that you're looking at as being so god-awful or painful or are really hurting, try to disassociate from that feeling of pain. A lot of times, maybe not even disassociate, but process. Go through. If you need to have a day where you are sad, do it. But also, try to find the good. Try to get up. Try and go. Don't stop trying. Don't give up on you. You know, I was paddleboarding the other day, and I took this really cool picture of one of the bases of a really big bridge. And it's all concrete, you know, stone and like rocks and concrete. And out of it, there are these beautiful yellow plants growing. These flowering yellow plants. They're probably weeds, I would suspect. But they're growing off of the side of this sheer face. And the quote that came to my mind was, nature doesn't give up, neither should you. You know, if a plant can grow in a scenario like that, where are the roots going? They barely have anything to hang on to, and yet here's this whole blooming plant. It's possible. Don't give up. So you need to realize that you have the world as the potential here. This is who you need to be to get the world as the fool. I just kind of heard, like, what do you have to lose? There's not much to lose when you're in the tower moment. That's the wonderful beauty of destruction and chaos, is that when you're in the midst of it, you are placed in a position where you can go for your dreams, you can go for the things that you really want, because all the things that you thought were important aren't even at play, you know, maybe anymore, if they have already dropped away, or if it's a potential, you know, refocus. I think this is a refocus on self-time. This is so loudly speaking to me. You are keeping yourself trapped. It is your responsibility to re-spark your star, or to let your star shine. You're the star, man. Do it. And don't, this also talks about, don't completely isolate in pursuit of spiritual enlightenment. So while you are maybe really digging in and finding the things that super, super matter, take a break, go outside. I hear really connect with nature. Like I said, connect with your nature guides or your spirit guides in nature. Do some listening. Like, it's not a pushy time. And this is confirmed to me also that we're dealing with some really important base things, because I got this room, which is called Notice. It's a need, a hardship room. It's about need fire. So it's about necessity. It's about like core of your, I take it back to like your passion. When the going gets tough, the tough gets going. Like, being that person, you know, I like instantly think of a dude in boot camp. Like, they're pushed so hard to prepare them for what is really coming their way. And once they have gone through, you know, being torn apart and then rebuilt as this warrior, they're then capable of handling what comes at them in battle, right? So the quote that I wrote too, use your fate, do not strive against it. So to me, this speaks to of like, what would I write down? Mysteries of necessity. I think that there are some things in life, I know at least for myself, reading tarot is one of them. There are things that I've felt very called to. Being a spiritual person, talking to people about your soul, it makes everyone, not everyone, it makes people uncomfortable a lot. It's hard to kind of, people get really weirded out when I say things about, you know, either magic or tarot, or there's like these trigger words, crystals, oh my gosh. But this is so who I have felt I am. You know, like I've always wanted to play with rocks. I've always wanted to, you know, I always believed in ghosts. I've always had that unyielding intuition about there being another side that I could tap into and stuff. So I think it's that, like, I feel like I don't have a choice but to live as this person any longer, even if it weirds people out. They're not my people. My people accept out of me. They love me. Like, they, even the people I wouldn't think are, like, super spiritual. Like, my neighbor's like, hey, dude, you want to come sage my house? Like, yeah, I would love to sage your house. You know, do you know about that? Yeah, I super know about that. Like, maybe you noticed that I was over here waving that big blunt looking thing around, you know? But I think for everybody it's kind of different. So even if I'm just seeing that somebody really would like to share teaching, being a teacher, I think that's something, I don't know why that keeps coming to me. Somebody wants to teach things but is worried about financial stuff and money. Because too, at the bottom of the deck was Queen of Pentacles? No, Nine of Pentacles. And I don't know why, I always think she's a queen. She looks so royal to me. But I think Nine of Pentacles is kind of, she has her harvest. She has, I think it's kind of taking what I was talking about before with your passion fueling your finances. We're at that point where that needs to be what's happening. We're shifting to that point, getting to that direction. We also had Four of Cups, so I think somebody's kind of like, I don't really want to do that. It makes me really uncomfortable. Even though, you know, at the end, you're going to be Nine of Pentacles. Like, come on, get it together. And Magician. So I think it's somebody is like being called to use their magic. You're being called to use your magic. Get it together. Use your magic. Don't keep hiding it. And Hangman reverse. So that's saying, like, you're going to have to see. Even if you're staving off that feeling of wanting to, if you're staving off putting your, I want to say this right, putting your passion, implementing your passion into your life, if you're pushing that away, and pushing away the tower moment, avoid, you're going to be seeing clearly. Hangman reverse. He's upside down now. He's not hanging like so helpless. It's like, oh, now you will be empowered. And you might be empowered through pain. You might be empowered through a tower moment. So as I have been warning, if you don't want to be that guy, do the things that you know that you need to. I can say with my last breakup, there were and like any relationship I've been in, which is all of them, that I'm now no longer in, when I was doing things that were not resonating with my soul, I was like, feeling that uncomfortability, like I should do this right now. You know what I mean? And then not doing it. And so it just kind of went on to a point where, oh, then it's the tower and you're screwed, you know? You're like, ah. Hi.
Mom, I don't know how to do handstands.
Oh, well, can I come show you in a minute?
Yeah.
I just want to say bye to these people.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay. Go watch your movie.
Now.
I'll be there in a second. I love you.
That makes music.
Okay. Yummy. I love you so much.
Yeah.
So, I have to go teach someone how to do handstands now.
Bye-bye.
I think we're going to go bye-bye. I think everything that was said that needs to
Bye-bye.
be said. Signing off. More later, probably. I'll
Bye-bye.
probably end up doing a spread for the eclipse.